but we all work for the good of the silo.
Right. The good of the silo.
Welcome to Episode Echoes. We're continuing our brief recaps of all the episodes of Silo Season 1, breaking down the key moments, twists, and of course all those hidden clues you might have missed. Today we're reviewing Episode 4, titled Truth. As always, if you have not caught up to the events of this episode yet, you can watch my brief reviews of the events of the previous episodes using the link above. And because this review will be describing key plot points and events of Silo Episode 4, a spoiler alert is in place. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell to stay in the loop when we release new videos. Episode 4 starts with a flashback of Juliette as a little girl with her parents and brother, and in fact, throughout the episode we are treated to several flashbacks of Juliette's childhood. In the first one, her brother has some sort of illness that we don't know about, and although we later learn that her mother and brother died, we are not told how. In later flashbacks, we see young Juliette struggling to cope with their deaths and embracing work as an escape. The last flashback we see of Juliette is how she runs away from home. She basically forges a letter using her father's name to Martha in Mechanical to take her in. Martha does the right thing. Obviously doesn't turn her away, but also sends a porter to let her father know where she is. When Juliette's dad comes to visit her, he realises that she might be better off in Mechanical and lets her stay there. These flashbacks are used to good effect to give us some background information on how Juliette came to be in Mechanical. In the present, we follow Detective Marnes as he tries to solve the mystery around the death of Mayor Jans. The way the episode lays it out, Bernard and Sims tries to get Marnes to carry out his investigation quietly because they don't want information about the mayor's death causing any disturbances in the silo. But Marnes has taken the mayor's death personally because apparently they used to be a thing and he really did love her. Taking it quietly is not particularly his style. Shortly, Bernard becomes the new interim mayor according to the pact, and he swears in Juliette as the new sheriff. We see that some of the politics and intrigue that has been going on from the last episode still is a recurring theme in this episode, especially regarding how they don't want Juliette to be the sheriff. Her assistant doesn't want her, the top judge in the silo, Judge Meadows, also doesn't want her, Detective Sims doesn't want her, everybody literally does not want her as sheriff except Holston, who is dead, and the mayor, who is also dead. Juliette's first task as sheriff is to stop Detective Marnes from beating up a suspect in the lower levels. She makes a deal with Marnes asking for his help in figuring out what happened to George Wilkins, in exchange for helping him to investigate Mayor John's death. Marnes also gets a visit from Rob Sims, who wants to enlist his help in removing Juliette as sheriff and appointing Paul Billings. But since Detective Marnes already has a sort of agreement with Juliette for his own selfish reasons, he rejects Sims' proposition. One important part of this episode is a rattling noise in the air conditioner of the late Sheriff Becker's apartment, which Juliette inherited as sheriff. Initially, Juliette doesn't think to investigate the noise, but when she does, she realises that the noise is actually from a string that's tied to something at the back of the air conditioner. When she pulls out the string, she finds that it's attached to George Wilkins' case file that she had been looking for. What I found interesting about this episode is how the episode pits Detective Marnes and Juliette side by side and compares how they each deal with loss and grief. Juliette has always dealt with loss and grief by working hard and staying distracted. Detective Marnes, on the other hand, embraces destructive habits and makes bad decisions, and as far as storytelling goes, it makes sense that the episode ends with him being attacked in his house by a character we've not met so far in the show and being held at gunpoint. This episode shines in terms of progressing Juliette's hunt for the truth and giving us more insight into her personality, but it also asks some important questions, especially around judiciary, Paul Billings, Rob Sims and Judge Meadows. It presents some possible allies to Juliette in Lucas, the curious guy from the cafeteria, and Patrick Kennedy, the guy who punched Marnes in the face. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to Episode Echoes for more TV and movie reviews. I'm always interested in hearing your thoughts, so feel free to share your own take in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.